Okay, folks, it's Odell here again. This new job that I'm doing is I am tackling changing the wheel bearings on my 1998 528i. The first thing you want to do is jack the car up, get the wheel off, which I've already gotten the wheel off. And if you take a look at my video on how to do the brakes, you will see me instruct you on how to get that brake caliper off. Now, the one thing I did differently this time that I didn't do in the other video is I actually suspended the caliper with a wire hanger from the actual suspension on the vehicle, just so I don't put any stress on my brake line. And I did that this time only because I'll be working under here a lot longer than I did when I just changed the brake pads. So I went ahead and I took that off just for demonstrations, and if in case you don't want to rush back to the video that I did on brakes, you'll see there's a hex nut right here and one hex nut over this side here. They both have dust caps on them, so you're going to want to pry these little dust caps off to access them, and those are 7mm hex bolts in there, so you're going to want a 7mm hex socket to get in there. All right. The next thing I did after I took that caliper off was I loosened up my rotor. Now the rotor was being held on by one single 6mm hex nut that was right in this hole here, and I actually took that out. Here it is right here. It's a 6mm hex nut, and it was right there. I actually took that out, loosened this up. And once you loosen that up, it basically shakes, but that's not the end of it. You know, you see it shaking. So what you want to do is go back here now, and these brackets here were holding the caliper onto the actual vehicle itself. Now if you look, here they are, this bracket here. Now what I did was I went right behind it. There's one giant screw here and one giant screw here as well. So I actually went ahead and loosened those, so I'm just going to take them off. Oh, and the size of these screws are 3/4 inch nuts. I used a 3/4 inch socket. There it is, 3/4 inch socket to get at that nut. Now I know it's a metric nut, but the 3/4 inch works fine for the task at hand for now. So you just want to loosen that up. And I really hope this helps, because I took my car to the mechanic to get a quote on how much to change the wheel bearings. The guy told me $458 each wheel. Needless to say, I went online, ordered my parts. I got each bearing for $100 a piece. You could get it actually cheaper, but I went the extra step and got a really nice one. Came with the four bolts for it as well, because once you remove these bolts, they're one-time use. So they usually come with the bolts. So basically, you remove this bracket here now, and you can see the bracket just slips right off. Put that to the side, and then you just take this off, and that's it. Comes right off, very easy, very clean looking. You'll see I have a little dust shield here. Let me get some light in here. You'll see I have a few dust shields here that actually look like they're still in pretty good condition. So the next thing you're going to want to do now is, once you have that off, I want to change this 6mm socket to a, what is this, 10mm socket. Now with that 10mm socket, you're going to want to remove this dust shield. All right? See the dust shield here? This big old dust shield, that one right there. So you got 1, 2, 3 10mm bolts that you're going to want to remove. This little nut right here is a star nut. I have a whole set of star keys, but when I did the other side, it just slipped right off. So that's no big deal. So we're going to go ahead, loosen these. All right, you'll see they come off fairly quickly, fairly easily, no pain. I'm gonna go ahead and loosen this one here. And that one's gonna come right off as well. Oh, by the way, just in case you didn't notice, this is your actual wheel hub. Now, you probably can't hear it, but mine actually does not sound as smooth as it's supposed to sound. All right, so that's why I'm changing it. Also, when I was on the highway driving, it sounded like a whoo, like that kind of sound. You know, that's how I basically knew that these things were done and it was time to change them. So, you know, this thing supposedly slips right off. Yeah, I kind of just broke that. No biggie, I'm fine with breaking it. Alright. And that's that. This dust shield here, that's attached to this part. On my other side, it was actually broken, so I actually just removed it. Now, once you have that loosened, the next thing you're gonna want to look at is the back side of this hub. And what you're gonna notice is there are a few screws back there. This is one nut you're going to want to get at, and this is another nut you're going to want to get at. Now, if you have Bilston shocks, you're going to notice that you'll have exposure to all three of these nuts. This one, two, and that one right there. The other one is actually going to be hiding behind that Bilston shock, only because that shock actually extends down longer than the stock shocks. So what you're going to want to do is the nut that's hidden, you're going to want to take that off last. Normally, they recommend that you remove the suspension to get access to the nuts, because basically this hub is held in by just these 4 bolts. Now, once you get access to that last one, you could just drop everything. Everything just slides right off. So you're going to want to loosen these 3 that you can visually see first. And once you loosen those 3, then you loosen that last one. You're going to use that 3/4 millimeter socket. And actually it slips right in there. Now once it slips right in there, see there's that 4th bolt right there. Now it's going to slip right in there. Once it slips right in, you're going to want to get the extension for it, and it'll work just fine with the extension. And you just work it, work it, work it. And then once you work it till it's loose, you'll notice that this entire hub here, this entire hub just slides forward. The reason why I say leave that hidden bolt for last is because if you try to do that one first with all the other bolts tight, the bolt itself is going to come out and you're not going to be able to get your socket off because it's going to be trapped by that shock. So you're going to want to loosen the other 3 first, and then this in turn is just going to be supported by that 1 bolt. So as you loosen that last bolt, this is going to slide forward. Once it slides forward, then you could just pull it off and then push a screwdriver through the hole and just knock that bolt back that way after you remove your socket from it. And I'll demonstrate that in a second. All right, I'm going to go ahead and loosen these bolts and then I'll show you.